Akon, might this year. See, everybody that's existing got a mind of their own. We're all kings and queens with a throne of our own. Trying to raise our families in a healthy home. We gotta learn to stick together, hate to be here alone. Cause the world is a place that will eat you alive in one day. Said the world is a place that you can't survive without faith.
Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around. Because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't wanna fight no more. There'll be no more war, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day, one day, one day. It's not about win or lose, 'cause we all lose when they bleed on the souls of the innocent. Blood-drenched pavement, keep on moving though the water stay raging. In this maze, you can lose your way, your way. It might drive you crazy, but don't let it face you. No way, no way.
Gotta hold on, live your life day by day. Gotta hold on, put your focus on that one day.
All my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't wanna fight no more. There'll be no more war, and our children will pray. One day, one day, one day. One day this all will change, treat people the same. Stop with the violence, down with the hate. One day we'll all be free and proud to be under the same sun, singing songs of freedom.
Gotta hold on, live your life day by day. Gotta hold on, put your focus on that one day.
All my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't wanna fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and our children will play.
ما لقيت بلاصة نمشي نغمض فيها عينيا. ما لقيت صاحب واحد يعرف ما يرد عليا. ما لقيت موجة تبحر بيا لبعيد. تفسر معنى اللي سايب. شمرة النجم نحرق بيها إحساسي ما لقيت عمرها حتى بالكذبة ملالي كاسي كاس اللي ما تلقى قطرة خير تعبيه ما لقيت بلاصة نمشي نغمض فيها عينيا ما لقيت صاحب واحد يعرف ما يرد عليا ما لقيت موجة تبحر بيا لبعيد ما لقيت ناسي ما لقيت أهلي ما لقيت راحة ما لقيت فرحة ما لقيت طريقي ما لقيت ثنيتي ما لقيت ناسي ما لقيت أهلي ما لقيت راحة ما لقيت فرحة ما لقيت طريقي ما لقيت ثنيتي
Whoa. I forgot I made it big. Okay. So, I've been looking at this earthquake. I guess I can just pull up this tab. So this 8.8 happened last night. So that's what I'm going to talk about, is generally this. Is this sound really loud? I don't know. I feel like it's probably fine. I wish I had some viewers. Even just like maintenance. Sometimes I'm muted. I'm like, man, if I had fucking people around, it would be different. I'm like looking over here. That's part of it. Yeah. So, lots of thoughts that I would share. So I have a permanently suspended Twitter, but I have a backup Twitter. Here, feel free to follow me until my main account is not permanently suspended without basis. I just keep appealing and putting criminals over and over. Like, you're not fucking even communicating. Like, it's fucking retarded. Yes. Anyway. Lots of stuff. Maybe I can close nail care. Oh yeah, I was like, why? It's like, why do these clippers go the wrong way? Whose idea was this? I looked into it. Come to find out, there's a whole world. I'm like, one of the comments is kind of hilarious. One of the comments is some guy. He's like, one of my friends took me into a nail salon. And he describes it like such a man. He's like, there's a grid about 20 by 20, like square footage of these clippers. And all assortments. So come to find out, there's like toe clippers that are apparently meant to be more straight. These seem to go like away, so like this, I don't get it. Anyway, but 8.8, lots of stuff. Let's see. I've got all sorts of. Initially it was an 8.0, then it got upgraded to an 8.7. Now it is an 8.8. So let's see. I've got this thread. So I can open this thread. I guess do that. Yeah, I was looking at all sorts of stuff. Okay, there's another thread somewhere. It's another reason. Here we go. There's another reason I thought I'd stream, because it's kind of still happening. I was thinking about it last night. I'm just so tired. I'm still tired, but I thought, yeah, whatever. Epic Shalogram. Usually, I'm not the biggest fan when they're etched artistically. This is cool as fuck. So many details. It still, though, has no, like, striations visible that would suggest the tools they're using are involved, so it must be different tools, which makes it a little odd. Okay, I think we've reached this one as well. Might be the thread. Okay. So I started with this one, which is interesting. There's these earthquakes over here, which is not, like, if we go to earthquakes, and this is sorted by 1 day, 2.5 or greater, so let's say 7 days. So if we go like this, there's not that much going on in this region, but I searched for specifically in this one 1940. Let's even go further back. Let's say, who cares, 1800. And then put in 8.0, and I did this worldwide. So oldest first, oh wow, it goes back to 1843. Even at time, I wonder how accurate that is. Probably pretty accurate. It's really recent enough that it's probably pretty accurate. Wow, two in a week apart. Not as close as they initially looked, but both up at this pressure point, basically. But if we look over here, this actually added a few. So it's probably worth checking those out too. Let's see if what I found has any like matching here. So we see this one over here. We see this one. This is another one that got added 1934. This area is kind of lacking magnetic anomaly data in some of it, so it's hard to like this. This stuff makes it a little less clear what's going on when I'm trying to trace across it, kind of thing. But so, in this post, I noticed it's kind of odd. It's like quite a 90 degree. I know it's a 2D map, so that's one thing that comes up in these posts. This is a 2D map that I'm looking at, and I'm finding relationships. I'm not in any way saying, therefore, flat Earth. That's not what I'm getting at. Don't worry. What I'm more getting at is the Earth, in its three-dimensional way, seems to like have paths that on a sphere on the Earth, under the crust though, go in what amounts to a more linear way in a two-dimensional layout of the Earth like this, at least within like the center region. Up near the poles, all bets are off, kind of thing. But in this area, it's just worth noting. That's kind of odd. It's about 90 degrees. This thing, I didn't make it big enough. From essentially the center of that one to over there, this one's a little different, maybe a little more. But from here, I just thought that was worth noting, and then I did it a little better. And then I noted this area. It kind of suggests to me that there's this earthquake over here and this one here, that something happened with this one that allowed an undercurrent to get over here more. And like this linear relationship is like actually because of something more linear in an undercurrent way that's related to this area. I'm not completely sure. I've interpreted this to go the other way. In many places it's very complex over here because there's multiple paths through, so it's probably going both ways through the area. It's making it hard to tell which one's which exactly. But ultimately having a portion that connects from this earthquake over here to that earthquake over there, generally by going across here through it like a kind of opening area that widens and narrows, and then has like a general pointish region over here. It's hard to say without full data, but then with like a pathway through that generally connects in various ways, but more like directly, I guess, over more towards there. There's also like a corner here is what I'm tracing, is what this line is, where it bends. There's a bend. At least that portion, and then maybe I kind of cheated here because it's hard to say. There's so many paths through what exactly, how this would go to exactly over there. It just generally points at it. And then the 90 degree angle goes over to this one over here, which again lacks data, but has, as I drew, an arrow boundary suggesting it's going this way. And I was thinking it generally is suggesting current going this way over into here rather than the opposite, because it doesn't really make sense the opposite way to me. This way makes much more sense. It may be that this area has like current in both directions with enough space for it. I don't really see like a divider forming. This seems more like a divider, like a current's going the other way in here. Maybe it's going in here, out this way, in here. But I suspect this is in for other reasons. I don't know. Let's keep looking at stuff though. We're not even to Kamchatka yet. So then, this flow into Indonesia though, I suggest would have clogged currents. Like it's not, like if, let me go back here. If what's happening is an earthquake over here allows some kind of flow that was running into resistance to get through, so then it propagates more easily because it moved things out of the way during the earthquake, and then afterwards it had a pathway through, so then it relented on the earthquake, but then a pathway through was more able to allow pressures to flow, which then ended up flowing over here. It's not that it like ran into Indonesia, let's say. It's more that it ran into other pressures, is what I'm thinking, related to currents out here that are generally going in these paths that ultimately have a portion going down the coastline towards the Indonesian archipelago and applying pressure this way and flowing even out that way as an exit point, as well as out this way and out this way as exit points for here. Then it flows this way. Some of it flows across here and down and around, while current goes underneath here and up and around, while current goes over top that and around and possibly around. It's hard to determine just how many times the back and forth directions are. It is probably very doing this kind of thing, but with way longer fingers that wrap around each other multiple times even, kind of thing. And then I noticed, so let me finish this. Then I said, it strongly suggests this will not be the only earthquake of this general location either, as new pressures readjust the flows. So basically, this earthquake happens, it allows more pressure through. Over here then interacts with it, earthquake happens, and then it's essentially readjusting, so it should stabilize at some point where the pressures kind of balance, absent some other earthquake that then adjusts the system, and which is going to happen ultimately. Like there's this flow that is kind of caterpillaring through the earth in a way, where it kind of runs into walls that then build up temporarily, that it then breaks through them, and then once the flow gets through enough, it kind of stabilizes, and that place re-establishes as a wall, which then gets broken again if it's not well enough formed, depending on the pressures. Where there's like regions that seemingly filled up and functioned as some kind of like pump. As some kind of time. Okay. Then I said, here's this. Okay. This made me realize this arc, which has various ways, like you can look at it from like this angle with more of a direct pathway down this way. You can look at it more like at a this way angle where it goes more across here. and has an arc more here with an arc down here, and then the other arc more over here, rather than like over here maybe. You can also look at it more going across this way with an arc again over here, but then the other arc over here, basically China, that then has a even larger arc, more of a mushroom shape even. Makes me think of a mushroom cloud explosion kind of thing. But then I said, wait a minute. If the current is like interacting at a boundary, maybe it's interacting at another boundary, and I thought maybe over here in like an eddy region and goes around here. It might take a while till we even get to Kamchatka at this rate. Now I'm thinking about this because it kind of made me think of something else. This goes this way, and then like the Arabian Peninsula kind of acts as this region in a sense. This margin maybe not so clear. I don't know if it's exactly the mid-ocean ridge in this area. I don't draw it there. I draw it further out, like it's pushing the boundary beyond it more so. But then a bump here, and then over here there's this like river through area where current flowed through this way and did a similar thing where it also went this way, but this way and probably some that way even. And so there's a similar thing where like there's the end of the mountains, although I don't know if there's per se like a Himalayas equivalent, and so on, like this kind of stuff. Like there's more structure after that, but there is an equivalent in this sense. So that makes me think I wonder, it didn't occur to me if the Arctic is kind of an equivalent to the Philippine Sea, this or South China Sea, or maybe the I can't remember. How was I envisioning that? Like this flow going over, down, and into the North Pole. Over, down, and into the pole? Just pole? Like a North Pole of a solar system within the Earth, that it's like where it's more like a molecule than a single system. Okay, so then before I move on, this eddy region, hopefully you guys are somewhat aware of my research. I talk about this all the time. It's super important to my research. The angel with the trident structure here at Fiji, where there is a focal point of the Earth's expansion currents that were water-based because it was the global flood that shaped the Earth, including these layers. And a focal point of the energies of the currents was here at this location, that then had a jet stream that went to the North Pole that transported a sphere that became the Hawaiian Islands when it broke apart. Oh shit, I only had Twitch chat. Hey. I didn't see, I couldn't tell what you said. It's going, kid. I had the wrong chat open, so it didn't show it. I don't know why Streamlabs makes me have to click multi-stream to see more than Twitch. It's kind of inconvenient. Like, anyway, things are going good and bad. I'm just like fucking desperately fucked in life. I like, what's the word? Precognition? I'm getting old. I'm 40 now. Lose my hair. My teeth are getting worse and worse. I'm like, oh fuck, man. This is no bueno. But so when I was looking at this, I thought, that's weird. Is there anything that would suggest an eddy here? Like, it's not like that. This arc kind of goes around what I would interpret to be like Australia in a sense in here. Like Australia is basically Borneo equivalent. Then the arc over here would seem to be much closer, I guess, and maybe not reaching. I guess it could reach to Fiji to encompass the angel structure. But I looked over here, and I'm like, it made me look here enough where I saw. Also, I changed my microphone because you said this one's better. Well, yeah, I think it's better. He's right. I'm glad that to get the confirmation that other one sucks. It's just, I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe I dropped it or turned it or something. I definitely like turned it wrong. I don't know if I messed with it. I think it's just always sucked. But this thing, where Hawaii, the sphere of Hawaii, so a little backstory. It's like a can of worms to talk about this. Because I'm like, shit, I gotta talk about this other thing, and then this other thing. In the flood currents, a ammonite structure, which is a product of eddy currents, not actually a seashell, formed underneath Australia at the focal point of the flood currents, which then literally formed an ammonite, which is really a fractal, iterative, fundamental particle. It's an atom, it's a galaxy, it's an ammonite, and it's this. And this, like an atom, had a decay product that it released out of here specifically that went over here to this point as a sphere. And somehow it made it over here, which was also all the way over here because the Earth was expanding from this. And this point was also over here, so all these were one point above one another, next to one another, at one point in time before the Earth expanded. And a jet stream went up this way to accrete terrains into North America called Baja, BC. And it also brought a sphere along with it that rolled up to the North Pole, hit the North Pole, and was shot back away down this way and became the Hawaiian Islands. And in order to make it there, a magnetic field type structure was happening that had jet streams of current involved as like legs making a snow angel type structure in the Pacific Ocean crust that then had jet streams emit from it and to it, I think. So it's hard to say in that regard as well, whereas to and from in many of these instances. It's definitely from it, at least this way, possibly to. It might be that like one side is one way, one side is the other in each of these, and they end up branching like a trident off and up into these points here along this curious structure on that side, branching up here, and then they turn here at some point, but they also went up to the North Pole initially, and it did so from over here when it was going up here, and essentially caught in North America and widened the gap with applying like a almost like arms, while the arms had current flow in between the arms to actually open the space from the up here off underneath Asia, and from down here underneath Antarctica, basically between Antarctica and Australia, as well as from over here between the Americas. So all these currents were coming into the region, influencing here, but then these branching currents were pushing like spinal pillars to widen and create like a skeletal structure, while space was filled between with material to hold things based on the currents of the process. But I noticed this thing seems to so my interpretation is this literally is essentially what this is. Like, this started over there and moved as like at least like a seed of it, where it like swung out from here though. And I thought, well, it's hard to find, how does it get over there? But then it occurred to me, wait a minute, it looks like it goes up here. Maybe it's even actually just like the sphere rolling. Maybe the sphere went to here somehow and then rolled in some way, where it went up here, possibly this way, I don't know, and then went this way. But over here, that's where I'm like, oh, this actually makes a lot of sense over here if it swings up and goes this way. So initially it's projecting a current up off of it in this trident way into South America, but then it turns, so it goes up this way and it goes into North America, between North America and Australia and Asia, cutting them apart. But then it's like widening, so it's creating these arms. So imagine this thing that wants to have these big arms is starting to form currents around it that are pushing into its surroundings. So it's over here. It would make sense that it would like push away from Australia while pushing away from South America and start to like widen it like that with these like wings of the angel. And then there's even like the leg here. The legs, they kind of look like here going up to it, and then over here generally going up to it. So like the legs seem related. Like maybe they cross around here and then have like a flame type thing, although it looks like it moved there initially. But maybe it was quick and moved over here and just kind of formed stuff between once it reached far enough away to actually create this type of shape out here. Seems like there's a relationship there. I don't know how it fits geological data exactly. It just physically looks like it to me. now that I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, it looks like the angel moved and left like a recessive imprint, kind of like in shallograms, where there will be some point where an eddy was drilling into the stone and then it just moved to a better point and focused there and created an ammonite rather than the initial point. Like, drilled through this one. I know this one has it. It's not the best example. But where it drilled through here and then went out through this side. So it's eroding this side, eroded this side, and just made chakras. But it really started here. So it shifted and was even making kind of chakras. But it wasn't able to, like, connect them. So it's just kind of shifted here. And preferentially made the eddy here instead of here. To the untrained eye, this may look trivial. But that's how they are, homies. Not trivial. Here's another kind of circular thing like that. Here's one circular, but with like the spiral energies just cutting in at like this one shouldn't be there. Especially this one's a little odd. It looks much more like the tails of a galaxy rotation curve, like of a galaxy rotating, because it is. And then there's ones like this, which scientists just simply say drilled, but it's like, why? So if you look at like this one, we see the drilling goes all the way up to right here, which is weird. Like these striations continue and then they go into the stone. But then this one, well, they drilled it so the purchaser could see into the stone. That's why they drilled it. So it makes sense, kind of, in that regard. But then, like, again, what about this one? What were they doing here? They could see in over here, so they didn't really need to. What the fuck was the point of this? Well, we can't explain it any other way, so we'll just shrug it off. They did it. Someone did it. Someone did it. Someone did it. Someone did it. Anyway, the point is, recessive dominant happens in current flows. And it seems like maybe it started here, moved here. Just like the sphere. The sphere started here, moved over here, and moved here. I wonder if there's even this kind of structure in any way visible in like the legs. I don't see anything. Like here maybe? As like these legs. As a starting point? I don't know. Or like the head is the nucleus. But it's just overprinted so much that it's barely visible. It's possible. I don't know. Certainly not saying that's happening. Okay, let's keep going so we get to Kamchatka finally. Still no follow-up earthquakes in Indonesia region. Saudi Arabia. So this is before a follow-up happened. So notice. I was basically like, okay, can I start to predict earthquakes if I think about it enough. And I'm just thinking about it, so why don't I kind of say it looks like there's going to be some more earthquakes here. Not because of its magnitude per se, which I think is a 6.5, but because, which does help, like, good prediction. There, wow. If this is like a 9, like, I predict more earthquakes of at least 7 magnitude. Wow, one happened, I'm so brilliant. No, because it's more like because this current was allowed through, it seems that this anomalously rare type of earthquake here happened, and then over here I was like, well, maybe it'll keep hitting here, and kind of like we're seeing over here where I thought current at the Sand Point. I interpreted the Sand Point earthquakes of Alaska, which are generally here, to have allowed current flow that was interacting with the counterflow from over here, so a flow going this way, involving the mantle puncture hole, so like a major region of the Earth going this way, along this margin basically, and then along this margin, and along this margin, though, and along this margin, to then arrive at over here, and then this earthquake happened, and then I had noticed there were eastward propagation of the earthquakes, where subsequent earthquakes were further eastward, and I thought, well, maybe it like moved material out of the way, where current was generally going up this way and then coming across this way, colliding, and it just kind of did this, and so it's letting current through, but there were more interactions here as it kind of figured out whether or not it was letting current through, maybe, as more pressure built up over here, and then it ended up maybe that the easier way for pressures to be released was for it to go across this way over here to Kamchatka, where now we're seeing a bunch of earthquakes. So it seems like what's happening is flow based, like it's opening a flowway, where flow that wasn't really able to get through, at least to the magnitude it was, at least until it opens pressures, like it's opening a door. Like it needs to get out, so it's opening pathways through a margin that it generally goes down this way, at which point maybe it reaches like a big basin region where that energy can more stably be absorbed and things calm down, kind of thing. But in the meantime, this area is just getting like overloaded with pressures. It seems that we're shifting from that earthquake, and I was thinking the same might be happening in this one here. So let's just go back here. Okay, where'd that go? Still no follow-up earthquakes in Indonesia location. Saudi Arabia has had 3 nearby the Djibouti earthquakes. However, so perhaps the interactions will not lead to a Sand Point. So I was basically saying maybe not. To be honest, good thing, because it seems kind of sketchy, especially around Indonesia. And then these ones happened. 5, 5.5, 4.9. I don't know if it's been doing it since. I was like, there they are. Bit further north, I said. Seemingly influenced by whatever caused earthquakes further up the Red Sea. So these moved over here. There was one here and here initially. They moved from Djibouti to the Red Sea right here. Djibouti. And then these happened. So this happened first. This moved over here, in terms of where earthquakes was happening here. And then these happened. Another quake generally in a straight line from the spray nozzle. So again, back to that two-dimensional thing in this image, although the Earth itself is actually in line with, here's the earthquake, and then a spray nozzle. So if we look at Earth, it really is literally like a spray nozzle into this region, and then another spray nozzle kind of thing down through here, that then the earthquake was like here. Seem related to this pathway. Some reason I'm like, maybe energies are getting through. It doesn't seem the best path, like it's going through Australia, but maybe it goes around, and kind of like we saw near Pakistan, where it comes through and then it enters into this thing, kind of like the Philippines C shape even, and then it continues through seemingly to over there. Whereas here it would be going like this way through Japan, pretty much underneath it, largely westward maybe, but across, also underneath it, but above, probably like going above this stuff. Like it's not there, it's there, but so much flow that it goes above it maybe at times. And somehow gets through, maybe by going just around it all like that, to then carry on and around it having, I don't know, it's hard to say if it has that kind of spinning top shape. And then another apparent relationship with a wall along which current flowed off of this. Currents flowing off of this like boundary. And generally, earthquakes over here in the last 30 days of 4.5 magnitude or greater, as well as 2.5 magnitude or greater, are basically in line on this two-dimensional map, which shows like it's related, even though it's two-dimensional. And what's interesting is three-dimensionally on the Earth, that same path from over here actually goes over and back up in essence on the map to then arrive at this pressure point here, the flat face of Peru. Is that Peru? Like that's Peru, right? Oh yeah. I wasn't sure if there's something else. It's all Peru. Pressure point into Peru. And then I just kind of drew some flows that maybe are happening. Definitely with the other way too. Here, definitely more complex than this. It's hard to do something like this, especially just winging it. The one at the start of my video is pretty good because I used a bunch of higher, smaller regions where I did like here. Okay, so Kamchatka. Let's look at this earthquake finally. It's probably been several since we started. I think they're finally slowing. So let's look at this post then. I gotta freaking do this. What the hell? It's a bot. Freaking bots. Freaking bots, man. No one looks at my shit but bots liking it. Gary, what's up? Pardon me, Gary. I don't know about anyone else though. These quakes are transitioning further south along the margin, and this 8.7, 8.8 seems to have led into one much further down the margin. Oddly, I thought it seemed like it was opening a pathway along the margin and was figuring another could happen further along the margin. I was literally in the same, like, just experimentally. I was like, maybe I should say I'm thinking this is going to lead to an earthquake in this area. I was thinking, I don't know exactly where, but then I like refreshed it and it was already there. Oh shit, that's good, but not good that I didn't like do it, but cool. Significant quakes on the 20th, so these are the 20th. None of them down here. And then this is the 8.7. These are all 6.5, I guess 5.5 or greater. But these ones are all 6 or greater, 6.5 even. And then these ones, including the 8.7, 8.8, were further south, all of them, and these two happened after this one. So I'm like, okay, we got a similar thing going on. And here's just, because it always matters, let's look at the magnetic anomalies. I mean, let's see what we can uncover. So then I looked at it. Let's see, am I like clicking? It seems like I must only have one image per post. Whatever. There's the 8.7. Okay. Path in the magnetic anomaly is directly to the 8.7 magnitude earthquake at Kamchatka. So this path over here, which comes from the mantle puncture hole over there further, and then instead of going along this margin, that's more like around this thing, like it goes along this and then continues over to Sandpoint by basically going around this seemingly and then just continuing. Instead of that, it actually is being deflected off of here over this way to Kamchatka. So where this 8.7 is seems to be related to this boundary, which has a very close relationship generally to the Sandpoint boundary over here, so that's curious. And then there's another margin I drew here in teal that generally continues to Japan. So it goes this way along this and then through here and then kind of hooks in exactly to it. There's a little hook in. We can look at it without my drawings on it too. So basically right here, through here, and then it goes straight here, but it also more so seemingly bends in. And this is where the earthquake was, like right here, the 8.7, which then going across this way again goes here, down this way to the mantle puncture hole, which really continues down along this margin too to go down here where another earthquake was over here. So I think I forgot to mention that those earthquakes we were looking at initially, the 8.0s, these ones are all, I don't know where the images are. I don't know. I could have sworn it was in that thread. They're connected, like, to the mantle puncture hole along margins, like this margin, generally through here, goes back to here, and then goes over here to where another earthquake was, like, right here. One of those, the rare 1940 onward earthquakes was right around here. I believe it's right here. Along that margin, though. What a coincidence. Notice there's cross currents in the region. And then I just drew it. Oh, I guess I drew it here. Maybe. I don't know. There's the mantle puncture hole, as I call it. And then the bottom margin, so from the mantle puncture hole, the top margin here is generally here, seemingly. But there's a bottom margin where there's another high intensity wall of magnetic anomaly where current can flow along it, past it, and then around this generally, and continue through here. And that goes to, like, basically Japan. So it may even be the current is going across this whole region, but is being pushed downward to be more focusedly down through here. Some of which maybe goes up and counter pressures to kind of prevent this other current from just pushing the boundary down, but is maybe with the Sandpoint Alaskan earthquake allowing more pressure over here that's then pushing a balance point down that is then leading to just ridiculous amounts of earthquakes there. I don't know how common something like this is. I mean, certainly the 8.8 is not common, but I mean, the sheer quantity of 5.0s in this location seems out of control. I don't know how common something like this is. Like, if we look over here, 171 earthquakes. There's probably 50 on the map that are not here. This song is too weird. Okay. Which means there's like 100 plus, maybe pushing 150 just right here. Like, we could, I guess, just box it off. I don't know if there's a better way to box it off than this. Let's say since the 15th. 334 earthquakes of 4.0 or greater. Let's say, or for some reason, 4.1 or greater, even though I searched for 2.5. Let's say 4.7, something like that. 215. Okay. Something seems more up than usual, I guess. Where did I friggin... Oh, yeah, it's this. Then I said... Here's the all four. So here's the... All four of these earthquakes. 8.0 plus... Which are these ones? 1, 2, 3, 4. All four of these are one here, mantle puncture hole boundary. 2 right next to the mantle puncture hole, pretty much along this margin. 3 down here. 4 all along margins that branch off of the mantle puncture hole. Why exactly? I don't know. It's certainly a energetically important location of the Earth. And then I noticed there's really not much here, although I found one about here when I put 7.9. And I thought maybe it's like in a shadow, like it's blocked. So any pressures this area is applying aren't really reaching over here. So it doesn't seem to be as prevalently influencing this like area, because this is 1940 to present, all 8.0 plus. No, none. Zilch, although there are some in other searches I made that are slightly varied from that. Let's see. Like over here, here's another. I mean, I know like a set. There's one that lists as a 8.0, but it doesn't come up unless I do 7.9 some reason, like right around here. Like it's 7.9 something, and it rounds to 8. I don't know. Let's check out maybe this one. 49.29. I'll do it like this, I guess. 49.29, 96.84. 49.29, 96.84. Right there about. $2,984. I think it was there. About there. Not on the margin, but near the margin. Generally center of this band that's like flowing across here to the Mariana Trench area. I frickin' was flowing. I was flowing. Now I'm just forgetting what the hell I was doing. I gotta record, but I'm just like distracting myself, I guess. It's harder to like do whatever the hell I was doing. So one thing I noticed before we go, let's not do that. Let's do oldest first. This is 23rd onward, I guess, here. Oh, crap. I thought this was the one I had localized. Okay. Let's do oldest first. I wanted to kind of just literally do this. One here. So the furthest one in all of it all, curiously, is the earliest of these. And then we have a bunch of stuff going off, all generally localized here, I think. Super localized. 7.4. So these were precursors to the 7.4 as energy, I guess, was building up and wasn't able to remove blockage, maybe. Still follow-ups. And then it actually seemed like right after that, all of them were further north until that one that we just abruptly it moves a bit south. Boom. Right. Still pretty north though. All so north. North, 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 north. Can I just... No. No. I don't know when it becomes the orange ones. North, north, north. It's probably not until the 8.8 that this really, like, widens. It's definitely pushing boundaries. I feel like I want to look again. Oh my god. If it's like getting tight, wider, and less tightly knit. These are super tight. Super tight. Still relatively tight. Still up. Now I got a little further out there. Still pretty tight until that one, and then they move south. All three of those, even that one too, that one too. So then they just move south, back north there, somewhat pretty much back north, back south, south, north. South. Now they're like ping-ponging north, north, south, 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 central of this region, far south, south, central, south, further north, south, central, south, central, south, pushing the boundaries a bit, south, pushing boundaries, south, north, pushing boundaries, south, central, south, central, south, central, central-ish, central, 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 north, southish, southish, north, still all in the same region though. This is insane how many earthquakes there are here. So many data points. Holy shit. North, central, central, north, south, or central, south, south. South, at some point this is gonna open up. I'm thinking it's like ping-ponging though, like kinda like a region where current could get into maybe. That then it's like going back and forth somewhat. And applying pressure in this direction, then this direction, and just kinda back and forth. Wait, let's go back a little. Down, down, then up further. And up and over. And then back to the... Oh, what? And then the 8.8. That's pretty fascinating. These two strays were just before it. There's this freaking sequence. They're all clustered. And then they kind of like go north from this one to this one, and maybe another in there to that one. Go kind of this way, and then back out 8.8. And then down, down, down. Oh, back to the boundary. Boundary 6.9 at the margin of all this, like the white ones. Sure, the earlier ones. I don't know why exactly. These are orange. But then these two like opened up space too, I would imagine. The 6.9 and the 6.3 contributed to making this boundary no longer the boundary, and current pressures to be able to move further through, even though the 8.8 really like started it all. So it seems almost like current went in and went back and did like a freaking got like trapped in a eddy or something, even maybe against resistance, and then blew out the resistance to then create new container boundaries down here to let current through. Starting with that 8.8 and then down, down, back at the boundary, down, pushing the boundary, back pushing the boundary, and then way down here. So then like it really opened the flow down here, which is interesting. It breaks through, and then it goes all the way down to this boundary of the earthquakes, where then there's really no earthquakes here yet. These are all after. And then this one happens, and now it's like building back pressure maybe. Let's see what happens. So then where it like is like low energy between, and then sloped energy at the boundaries, where it's like maybe transitioning as the general energy builds up, and maybe we see it kind of moving more and more inward towards the center. I don't know, just a thought as we see these like still ping-ponging kind of thing there. Center, and then boundary, center up there, center down here, pushing this white one's boundary a bit more central-ish. I think that's a new earthquake right there, and that one too. These red ones I think are new earthquakes. Let's see what's up. Just freaking open the new ones because I got all these specific searches. Couple 5-point somethings. Nothing. Nothing like that 8.8. Still. Oh, there's another aftershock-ish thing that was of greater magnitude than that one. Down generally along maybe a boundary, like it, where these are pushing the boundary, I don't know. Pushing the boundary again. Maybe it's doing like this kind of thing, even like over here. Huh. Where's that one I was looking at? Okay. Margin, they're really all of them down here now. Oh, nope. One out there. Oh, what? Out. Kind of makes me think of that one. There's not a subsequent 8.8 or something, but like the way it kind of abruptly pushes the boundary in some way. Thanks for hanging out, dudes. I see some people are here, I guess. Cool. I like never stream at this time of day. It's like a rarity. Well, it's not like 11 p.m. when I start. And it's still, I mean, it's hard to say that it's ping ponging. It could just be like, well, it's. I haven't been looking at the magnitudes. Maybe if I just eyeball them, they'll be shifting downward. I don't think so. They seem pretty continuously around 5s throughout, besides the bigger ones. Which is kind of odd. It suggests like the same source behind it all. Same cause, source. Where was that one? I'm just so. This is where I was thinking, like, dudes. What the fuck, bro? Makes me think of Stephen Barron's mentions someone prophecy Japan July. This thing. Japan's Baba Vanga. She said July 5th. Oh my god, dudes. It don't look good there, dudes. I'm like, now I'm figuring things out. It don't look good there, though. I mean, I don't think it takes, like, much to draw that conclusion. Like, the freaking quakes are shifting in its direction, and then there's this one. Oh. Wow, there's that many since that happened too. They're literally 3:23, 3:34, 3:45, 11 minutes, 3:58, 432, 440, 447, 453, 455, 501, 510, 5... No, that's Yellowstone. In the midst of that, a frickin' 2.8 at Yellowstone? Also, I don't know why this map doesn't just default here. It's not like over here. It's over here. I don't know where the highest risk of eruption is considered to be. I don't know. But then 510, 512, 524, and another one down there at Sandwich Islands. 531, 533. Like, this is out of control. It's every fucking... Oh my lord. 548, 549, 556, 609, 613, 640. Are people feeling all these? I mean, for sure, the videos of the 8.8, I was like, is that it? Like, maybe they're not feeling these fives very much. Like, the 8.8 just seemed not like an 8.8. Pretty sure it was at a shallow depth of typical 10 kilometers that they put it at. Oh, this one's not. Oh, interesting. Most of them are. This one's not either. Oh, that one's at the boundary too. Boundary one, that's deeper. Which would be probably described as subduction related. Not that plate tectonics is true, but undercurrents do go under things. And come out from under things. I wasn't paying attention. No, they're on 37. It's more that way, which just makes sense in general. I imagine like maybe this one's deep. No. 10, 10. Is that the 8.8? No. 10. Oh, the 8.8 was at 20.7. That's very strange that there's like different tiers. 35, 35, 35. Wait, let's look at these. 35. That's way up there. 35 also and generally nearby. And then 35 way down here. I don't know if this is just generically what they list for certain types of things or what. 10 is the generic one, but maybe 35 is also an other circumstances a generic one. I don't know. Northern Mid-Atlantic Ridge. One day. Check out this one real quick. 43.83, 28.64, 43.83. Freaking thing. I wish someone would like merge this map in Google Earth. Oh my god, it would be So good. Well, it was here generally. I think it's 48. 6.3. Let's see if it was there. 43.8. Damn. 28. 43, 8, 28. So there. It's generally pointing at this. Maybe over here too. Like connecting through across that pathway and down on the lower pathway. Okay. Oh. 5.2. I look bigger. The circle look bigger. 3.0. So what I'm thinking is like, if there's a larger earthquake, I want to be surprised if it's like here, and then we see transition that maybe gets further, and Japan. Let's look at the magnetic anomalies. Like, if current is seemingly propagating this way, along this margin, it's seemingly going right the fuck there. Like, it might be out in the ocean. Like, out here somewhere. And, like, this area is super tsunami concerning right now, I'd say. But it could also, like, deflect around it if it got through and end up going maybe down to, like, an earthquake down here. Also, Japan, just different area, Japan. Basically Tokyo. Oh my god, dude, what the frick of this world? This is probably way preferable in terms of, sorry guys. I really don't know where's the best place if something like that were to happen. Maybe like more here. I don't know, everyone's fucked if anything major happens, probably. Oh my god. That does not look very high, like high. Do I have an earth on it? $70 meters. High enough, probably. I don't really know how high tsunamis could get of that nature. Probably not much higher than like 100 feet. So like 30 meters is probably dangerous. In like a super huge earthquake. Super huge. But this is predicting, I believe, based in 1999. "50% had heard rumors of the prophecy." After the 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami, the author Tatsuki received messages noting her claim on the book's cover, which some reason is not on this Wikipedia. Oh. Cool. I don't know what exactly. 2011. March 2011. Oh. I don't know if these other ones match. If they did, I'd imagine people would point those out too. No, a pop culture artifact eventually reached a price of up to 500,000 yen. Okay, I don't know what that even is equivalent to. Such was his fame that a Tatsuki impersonator began making false claims. Okay. No. Where is... I guess there's no specific thing. Where's the prophecy? Is it just the cover? Seas around southern Japan would boil. I don't know if that's it either. Crack will emerge under the seabed between Japan and the Philippines. Yeah, that's what I've heard Stephen Burns mention. Something of that nature. Oh, please load the ad. I so cannot wait. Oh my god, it made me click it. Fuck off. It's trolling ass shit. Ugh. Catastrophic event striking Japan this summer. The newer edition features a prediction that a crack will emerge under the sea. Oh, this is the newer edition. Crack will emerge. I mean, it's not impossible. It's certainly, like, this current could go maybe like through here. and just like say, look, I gotta go. I don't know if it has enough energy. Maybe this is weak enough. Maybe it gets to a cross current going this way that it interacts with, and they don't interact well. And it cuts like over here or something. Or over here. Something like... I don't know. But certainly Japan looks super concerning. Super concerning. I don't know if this actually updates. Sometimes it doesn't, even though I have it checked. Okay. Well, I think I talked about the general stuff I was thinking. At least, like, some of it. It's hard to... I'm remembering there's, like, relationships like this. Where, like, there was a quake anomalously over here. Most of them were, like, here. And then there was one over here. And I was like, that's weird that it points at Kamchatka. Let's see if I can find it. Maybe this one. 518. It's probably that one. Where they're usually in the trench area or whatever. In here. Not beyond here. I thought that was odd. Which to me suggests, like, whatever's going on here, which is probably still the same thing, where essentially currents in the region were caused to go this way and had literally nowhere to go, so they just go back the other way and spray across into places, but not necessarily the same place, and then maybe it shifts like a hose that's kind of doesn't have a hand holding it quite well enough, say. Where it shifts, and sometimes like an earthquake back here, suggesting a earthquake maybe more along that path, like over here, whereas this one suggests more along that path, where it's more over there, where there's like a region, maybe even all the way over here, like across maybe this whole region here generally, where this can spray generally into and create more earthquakes by propagating that way, like that. Like, this is the 18th. Let's go back to... What was I even just looking at? 30 days. 18 maybe. We really don't even have much of anything going off here yet. As much more was the sand point thing going on then, where this one hadn't even happened yet. But then let's add another day. See if it pops up. Now we see itself at like a elbow pushed over enough to actually yield this earthquake. It's only 5.0, but it's a sign, because it's over here, that it really relates to over here. I think so. I would suggest it to be an indicator it's not the only time I've seen that happen either. Let's just go to maybe the last 24 hours, I guess. I don't know if that's this. Last 24 hours, I'll just go like that again. So now we got more this way. I wonder if we'll see something over here. It's not, this is definitely doing this. Maybe it's actually some of it going out like that. Whoa. It totally looks like it's... The other day there was like a cross coming through here too, where it's like running in here, running into resistance, going over here, running into resistance, and earthquaking in here, and then going the other way too, and quaking over here. And then maybe it seems like a current can kind of, when it needs to, go through here, even though it's harder to get through. Otherwise it can go along this way. And even deep down into the earth, because these quakes tend to be much deeper. 88, 185, 160, 126. I don't know if the one we were just looking at. .2 north, 175.2 west, 27.2, 175.2. 27. I think this is west. 27. Yeah, okay. Think around here. Check those numbers. 20. 7.2, 175. Oh. Okay, around here. Around here. Close enough. Generally here. So what do we see? We see a boundary right next to it. And then the other earthquake, if we go over here, 30.1, 135.9. 30.1, 135, 30.1, 135.9. 30.1, 135.9. It's easy to find because it's along this path. It's right here. So then we've got an earthquake anomalously out in the Pacific along one pseudo fracture zone. Here's a more like named fracture zone. I don't know if this is named. I don't know if this is named. Just like a pseudo one. And then another one next to it, but on here. And then here's the, what is it called? I'm gonna say Mendocina or something. Oops. Here we go. Show me the freaking image. Mendocino. I don't know if that was the one though. It might be Surveyor. Or that one that I can't read. Murray. I feel like it was Murray. When I actually figured out which one it was, I think it was Murray. But so, quake around here, along this boundary that's not actually the fracture zone, but the like adjacent type structure that seems to happen. Like here's one that's not a named fracture zone. Like these I guess it's a zone because it's more than one, maybe. Where that's like the main one. Point is, 2 earthquakes on the opposite sides of the fracture zone. If we don't look at the magnetic anomaly map, we don't know that that earthquake is on a margin adjacent to a fracture zone, and then on the opposite side of that same fracture zone another earthquake happens along another margin. I'm not even saying I know why. I'm just saying we don't know that's a thing. But like, it's a thing. That's kind of gander though. It was here, and the other one's here. Suggestive. Generally, it's related to the fracture zone's current, which honestly, the fracture zone's current is the center freaking conduit of the trident from the angel. Quite important now that I look at it. It didn't even occur to me, honestly. It goes up here and then runs into the nose of the dragon, where the dragon, mid-Pacific Mountains, as I call it, the dragon, because it kind of looks like a freaking dragon. The dragon, it goes up to the nose and then it bends. We don't really see it very well here, but it goes like this over here, and then the earthquake was on one side of it, like around here, and then on the other side, like somewhere like here maybe, was the other. But it's related to this pathway that's still there, so it's still transmitting energy, even if not the same that created the spine, if you will. Why would it have earthquakes on both sides? Very, very curious. Generally in line with the mantle puncture hole boundary here, maybe? Let's see. Like that one just goes straight to where that earthquake was. That makes sense. And then maybe a lot of the current bends down the fracture zone, but is generally going in this direction. It doesn't want to go up this way, it wants to go this way. So even though it's easier to go along the fracture zone, it bends and makes its way to this adjacent one maybe, and leads to 2 earthquakes for some reason. That one of which is because it's interacting with this current at the least, in the minimum. And the other, I don't know if it's interacting with something else that would make it here. Maybe it's actually, it might be because it's like this path where this focal point is chakra. So it's a current that's going up towards this way and maybe going right around the pole, whereas current that goes left around the pole deflects off it earlier, generally, as like a pressure area. So maybe there's just more pressure as it goes further, so it led to an earthquake that maybe helped it shift over here even. I wonder. There's definitely a bunch of earthquakes going on over there that kind of threads those into it. Especially more so there. More so here, but still connected along the same margin. It's just here is where this current directly goes through. Like there's a pathway here. Some of it goes around and bends, but maybe it doesn't do that anymore. Maybe it more so just goes through here. Now let it open the gap. would kind of make sense underneath it all, going through here and then coming out here, leading to just a higher resistance to cross currents going along this way, so that then more earthquakes are prominently along that stretch specifically. Let's see if this is too far east or this one, where like this margin is kind of to probably about here, although it probably interacts further south. But I think there's like there's current coming from down here going up this way, some of which goes up that way, and then some of which divides this way, which is why there's a margin pushing out here. So some of it goes around, but it may be that it cuts underneath South America a lot. And this current maybe manages to hold the pressure in here a bit more than where it can kind of interact over here even. At which point the current coming from the mantle puncture hole and the current going up this way would kind of join maybe. After generally around here, maybe this is even them interacting at a margin and before they join, and then leading to less earthquakes up here until they interact with some other directional current, where other currents are going southward. This is another significant one that was recent. 7:29 yesterday evening. 4.5 off the coast of California near Eureka. Eureka! Eureka! That's a pretty Eureka episode, I'd say. It's like, dudes, I broke the game, brass. Brass. I broke the game, bros. Game, set, match. Game's broke. We can't even play the game anymore. I fucking broke it, man. How are we gonna play it when I broke it? We still playing this game, but I broke it. I guess if you guys want to keep playing, but I broke the shit, bruh. Oh, shit. Okay. I think I'm gonna head out. Just one quick refresh. Looks like nothing of a larger magnitude. Maybe check out any small ones real quick. Certainly seems worth noting. Like, definitely the small ones seem to help reveal boundaries that are not so obvious. Whoa, what the fuck is that? Quarry blast. Quarry blast. I'm like, dudes, your quarry blast sucked ass. Fuck it. Seems to have led to a fucking. There's several there. Interesting. Let's check out this location exactly in the magnetic anomaly map. 44.75. Here's generally Yellowstone. 110.9. $44.75. 110.9. Okay, it's just about there. Like right around here. those quakes are happening. Which does have a boundary there that generally goes back that way. It's over here, so it could be related to currents that maybe this 8.8 like are helping get through here, and just kind of going along boundary, along a boundary to over there, some reason where it interacts. Currents going through here. There's eddy currents around here. Okay, dudes. I've fully exhausted all of my thoughts. I'm sure there are others that would be cool to share, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. The things around here with it being like a pivot point, even one that's kind of center, so it rotates more like as an X or like thing, is pretty useful. The motions of these is quite notable. Cool. Alright, peace guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Good to see you, Gary, at all. Till next time.